Alright, so if you guys want your video to look anything like the video you just saw right there, then I have the perfect plugin for you. Dehancer is a film-like color grading plugin that turns your videos from looking like this to this. Quick disclaimer though, this video isn't sponsored, but Dehancer did hit me up and they asked me if I wanted to try it out for a month, so I said yes. With that being said, let me just pull up what Dehancer told me personally. They stated that the important thing though is that we are looking for an honest review as it can help us improve. So we do not impose any requirements on what you say about Dehancer. With that being said, I'm going to show you how I color graded some of the clips in the video that you just saw. I'm going to give my thoughts on Dehancer, things I like, the things I don't like, and lastly, I'm going to say whether or not it's worth it. So just a fair warning before we actually open up Davinci Resolve, I just want to say I'm not a pro colorist, obviously. I actually don't even like color grading that much. It's cool. But what's cool about Dehancer is I can make my videos look like they were color graded with doing minimal amount of work. I'll show you right now. Here we have Davinci open. Here's a clip of someone running on the beach with a slow shutter speed. And then here's another one on a different beach with the waves hitting the rocks. There's no correct way to color grade your footage. And like I said, I'm not a pro at this, but this is how I personally did it. These are like two of my favorite clips. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is open up the color tab. Next, you're gonna wanna search up Dehancer. Drop it in on the first node. For my source, I'm gonna choose the camera that I used. So it's a Sony FX3 and then Gamut 3 Cine. So right now, my picture looks super overexposed and I'll show you what I did. First thing I'm going to want to do is lower the exposure. So I'm going to drop that to like right there. I think it looks kind of cool already. Here I can change the temperature. I'm not going to touch that though. I can change the tint. I can defringe. To be honest, I don't know what that means. I think it has something to do with like chromatic aberration or something. Who knows? This isn't going to be like the most scientific and the most factual review or tutorial ever. I feel like you can watch other people for that. I like to just move knobs until I think the picture looks cool. And that's why I think Dehancer is pretty perfect, because it lets me do that without having to go through the complications of actually color grading. After you touch the input, you want to head over to film. This is probably the coolest part about Dehancer. You get to choose from what seems like 1,000 different film stocks. We have Cinestill. That's a cool one. We got a bunch of Fuji chromes. For this one, I'm gonna choose Kodak Portra 160 just because I like how that looks in real life. I've shot one roll of Portra 400 before and I thought that looked really cool, so I just chose that one for this video. Next we have the film developer tab. You can change the contrast here. You can also change the gamma correction, color separation. In this case, I'm gonna enable it, and honestly, I'm just gonna boost the color to 100. Might as well, right? I think that looks pretty cool. Next is the film compression. A bunch of these tabs are pretty accurate when it comes to emulating film, or so I've been told on YouTube. If you click enabled, it kind of just compresses the colors a little bit, and I think it looks pretty cool, but I'm trying to go for a more washed out look for this just because it's the beach. So I'm not going to compress this. Next, for the expand, I'm going to choose my black point to be like right there. And you know what, let's just bring the white point to right there. That looks good to me. Printing is something that happens in real life. I think a lot of people would take their recently shot footage on one stock of film and then print it onto another. For this one, I'm not even going to touch it, honestly. I'll probably do it for different clips, so stay tuned for that. Let's head over to the color head. I'm not going to touch it either, but if you want to see what it looks like, you can enable it and you can make the sliders turn left and right. If you want to add like more creativity, more of a feel to your footage, be my guest, I guess, but I'm not actually going to touch this. Next is film grain, and this is the one that I'm actually really excited to show you guys. Head over to the profile. We can choose a bunch of different millimeter films. I'm going to go with the 35 just because I like 35 millimeter film, and you can actually change the amount here if you want. I'm just going to keep it at 35 millimeter. This is what it looks like without, and this is what it looks like with. You can see it gets kind of grainy, and I really like the grain, so let's keep that. Next is halation. Whenever you see vintage film, that whole vintage film effect I feel like comes from the film grain, the halation, and the bloom. Obviously the colors too, but you'll see what I mean right now. If I turn on the bloom, it gives it a more soft look on like the highlights and stuff. Sometimes I feel like it's a little too much on 35mm, so I might switch it to 65. But like I said, there's no right way of doing things. You can do whatever you want, really. Next is the film damage. I believe this is where like the dust and the scratches and the hairs come into play. I can turn that on here. You'll see it more when it plays, but film breath and gate weave, we're just gonna leave that off for now. And then overscan. Overscan is another important thing I like to use because the aspect ratio right now is 16:9, but with the overscan you can make it look like the film negative. So let's just enable that right now, and this is what that looks like. I kept it on the super 35. The gate shape is neat normal, but you can change it if you want. I really like the normal and I like the sharp, so let's keep it on sharp. Perforation mode positive, nah, let's keep it on negative. And static gate, I'm going to turn that off because that allows the holes on the left and the right to move. Lastly is the vignette. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but if you enable it, you can move it around and stuff, but actually looks kind of nice like that. I'm gonna leave it like that. So if you can't tell, the picture looks way different than it looked like before. This is before Dehancer. This is after. I think it looks super cool for the amount of effort that I put into it. As you just saw right there, I barely moved sliders and I barely used all the tabs, yet it still comes out looking really cool. Next up, we have this scene. This was filmed in the nighttime. I thought the waves hitting the rocks looked really cool. So same thing, you're just gonna open up color or throw down that node. Let's open up input, same thing. Since it's pretty dark, like I said, it was filmed in the nighttime. I'm just gonna raise the exposure up. Let's put it to right there. Let's open up our film. And for this one, since it was filmed in the nighttime, we're gonna raise the ISO of the film a little bit. So let's use Kodak Portra 800. Boom. I think that looks pretty sick already. Film developer, like I said, again, I'm not gonna even touch contrast boost. I'm not gonna touch gamma correction. The only thing I'm gonna do is raise the color boost, because this is where you get a bunch of color in your footage. Let's raise it to like 44, like that. So if you want to see what that looks like, the difference was from this to this. Head over to expand. Since it's kind of dark, let's bring the black point down to like right here. That looks way better. And let's bring this white point, ooh, right. At this point, it doesn't even look like it was shot at night anymore, but that's completely fine. Let's head over to print. Here, I'm actually gonna take the profile and I'm gonna use the glossy paper. I usually use the glossy paper for most of it. I feel like that one looks the best. If you want to see what they look like, here's the Cineon film log, Fujifilm. That one looks actually kind of cool too. The Kodak, and then the glossy paper. The glossy paper looks good in my eyes for this clip. And like I said, there's no right way of doing things. Film grain, halation, and bloom. Let's put everything at 65 this time. Let's put 65. 65. And then might as well, let's just blast the bloom. You'll see the difference right now in the highlights. It just makes it glow. And that glow part is, I think, what really sells the whole vintage dreamy feel. And I really like it. So we're gonna keep that. Film damage, let's just turn it on, might as well. Film breath, turn that on too. But actually, let's change these to 65, just so it's less pronounced. Gate weave, we will leave alone. Another one of my favorite gate scans is actually this Ultra 16mm. I think it looks super cool. And pretty much just like that, I'm done color grading this clip. If you want to see it again, it looks like this. Alright, now that we're in Premiere Pro, just take any clip you want. The first clip I have right here is a video that I did for this couple, and I thought that this looked really cool. The sunlight was hitting them just right, so we're gonna put this into Dehancer. The next one is actually a video that I took in Hawaii of honestly a random couple that I saw eating food. I thought it was pretty romantic, so I had to take a video of it. Anyways, what I do in Premiere is I'm gonna open up a new adjustment layer and I'm gonna drag it on to the clip I want to color grade. So head into your effects tab and then you're gonna wanna type in Dehancer. Once you have that, you drag it into your adjustment layer. and then head over to effects controls, and you'll pretty much see the exact same thing that you saw in Davinci right here on Adobe. I kind of like how it is on Adobe just because it's already compressed for you. It's not super cluttered like it is on Davinci. But since you already saw my process in color grading, I'm kind of just gonna fast forward this and I'll show you how quick it is for me to take my S-Log3 footage and turn it into... So since you already saw what I was able to do on Davinci, it's pretty much the same exact thing on Premiere Pro. So I'm gonna fast forward this and you're just gonna see my process on me color grading from S-Log3 all the way to the finished result. Just here. Boom. It already looks awesome right off the bat. Since the exposure is kind of nice, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Right there. I'm gonna go with glossy paper again. I think glossy paper looks freaking awesome. Bloom. Let's do that. Dang, look at that. I really like how it blooms like that, but it might be a little too much. Let's see. We're gonna keep it at 65. We're gonna keep it at 65. And just like that, I'm pretty much done. That took like not even 5 minutes. And if you want to see what it looked like before, let's turn it off. Let's turn it back on. I think this looks awesome. It's shiny, it's dreamy. You can really see the bloom, and that's just what Dehancer can do in honestly just seconds. Next we have this couple in Hawaii eating, I don't know, noodles. I really like this. I really like the colors on this too. So let's just once again throw an adjustment layer on the clip you want, stretch it out, and let's just start messing around with the sliders until we get something that we like. Oh, dang, let's try this right now. Oh, dang. Okay, let's try and fix this right now. Let's do 200 again. That's better, sure. I think a year before this, I actually shot Kodak Ector in Hawaii, and it honestly looked exactly like this. Like, I'm not even joking. So raise the color a little bit, just because we can. Wow, that's crazy. And then right off the bat, just doing that, it already gives me like vintage postcard vibes. And that was cool. So just expand. Let's raise the black point, just so it's flipping. And before doing this, glossy paper doesn't do that much to it. It looks like, but let's see if we can just mess around with it. So let's see what happens. Not much. Okay. Let's take it down here. Actually, no, let's put it on glossy paper. Let's just raise the color a little bit. Change it. Let's see what that one. Go ahead. Let's see if we can bring it down. Right. For go ahead. Let's see if we can make it a little bold again. Just a little bit. Like crazy. That's it. Halation. Turn it on. Let's see if there's a spotlight. Halation. For halation, you can see over here at the street signs, it makes them glow just a little bit, and I really like that. So we're gonna leave that on. Bloom. Always keep bloom on. Let's put it to 65 just so it's not in your face as much. Or honestly, no, 65 should be good. Film damage. Turn that on. And just like that, it's pretty much color graded. It looks honestly way better than what I could do without Dehancer. So that's honestly a plus. If you want to see the whole clip, it looks like this. So it all comes down to this. Do I think that Dehancer is worth it? If you want to try it out, I think paying for it monthly or annually isn't a bad idea, especially because it'll take a while before you rack up to that $700 lifetime purchase. It's fun to use, it's easy to use, and like I said, it takes no effort to make your footage look really, really cool. Here are the things that I don't like about it though. One is definitely the price. There's different things you can do about pricing because you can either do a monthly subscription, an annual subscription, or you can buy it for life. I think the cheapest you can do is like $30 a month, or you can do $11 a month if you do it annually. Personally though, I wouldn't be able to justify it just because one, it's $700, and two, if you spend enough time on Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve, you'd be able to pretty much replicate whatever I just did on Dehancer. Obviously, it's going to take way longer if you do it that way, but you're paying for the convenience, so you kind of have to weigh that out yourself. Another thing I don't like about it though is how the sliders are super cluttered. I feel like in the beginning, if you don't know what you're doing, it could get a little overwhelming moving all the sliders and stuff because there's just so much to choose from. But other than that, I don't have anything else to say. So all in all, do I think it's worth it to buy Dehancer? I think it's worth it for me because I don't want to have to spend a super long time trying to make my videos look a certain way and color grading it super specifically, because with Dehancer I can literally just throw it on. I can make it look how I want it to look in less than 5 minutes. So yes, I definitely recommend it to people, especially people who want to save time and those who really like the film look. So if you do want to purchase Dehancer, you can help me out. Use my promo code, it'll be down in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.